If you guys don't know, I am not a citizen of the United States. I came here on a student visa, and that student visa, once it expired, I would have to transition to some type of work visa. The H1 is more of like, hey, let's get a computer job and let's work till we die and make a lot of money and blah 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 blah. And I had no interest in doing that at all. Um, but I did apply for what's called the O1 visa, the artist visa, and that, man, I thought it was going to be as simple as like, hey, I'm an artist. I'm getting into sound engineering. I worked on a couple of things, but no, it wasn't that. I had to approach this like it was the job of my life or something. And
Yeah, I remember that.
yeah, yeah. It was rough, man. It was really rough. But again, you really helped guide me in terms of like, you know, just to give you guys an idea, on top of loads of paperwork that's involved and loads of evidence that's involved, you also have to present a, curriculum vitae, which is like an expanded resume, right? If I'm not mistaken. Um,
hmm
so, and that curriculum vitae basically had to list out everything that you've ever done in your entire life that makes you worth being a part of the United States. You know, basically, if I had to put it any way, that would be it.
What
And
really makes you like a distinguished professional in your field?
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever, right? So I had to list out all this stuff, and I think one of the things that really made sense to me over the years, it's like whoever's gonna look at this, they might not know like, what I've done, or like they might not know who I am, if I'm a cool guy, terrible guy. They don't know what mixing is. They might not know how to, how big is Fergie or how big is Don Q. They might not know any of this. You have to literally spell it out in the most
Mhm.
concise, accurate, uh, eye-catching way that you can. And that was a horrible, frustrating process. I think for you too, because I'm sure you got pissed many times.
I remember when we were working on your resume, well, on the CV, I'm going to call it, because
Yeah.
it really was several pages. So a much more expanded resume of everything you've done professionally related to the field of audio engineering in any way, shape, or form.
Mhm.
And I remember we took quite some time, pardon me, to build out this resume. And like when you said spelling it out, just to give people an idea, because I think this is definitely something that can be applied to any resume, in audio and entertainment in any industry, really. Is I remember, we were like, okay, in the engine room audio section, it just can't be bullets. We have to spell it out and make it clear for the person who's reading this, who probably isn't a music industry tech person. We have to make it clear what was the real significance of this organization you were a part of, and what was the real significance of the artists and the things that you did. So I remember we did like a brief description of what, engine room audio was, its significance in the industry. We went into the artists that you mixed, that you, what's the word, that you
Exactly. I'm a master.
mastered. No, no,
Yeah.
no, that you mastered. I was just thinking the right verb.
Very good. Very
Records
good.
that you worked on. And I remember we went into detail, like Grammy award winning artists such as blah, blah, mastered hit singles for Grammy award winning artists such as this, and a platinum selling artist, blah, blah, blah. That is so much context, above and beyond versus just saying, mastered records. Like that's night and day. That's so much more powerful. That's so much more kind of like quantifiable,
Yeah.
so much more understandable. So I remember that was an approach that we took to every single section of your resume. And we were like, where can we communicate the significance, anything quantitative, the results or the impact that you had in every single thing you were doing?
I mean, look, this is people who are watching now are probably going to apply for jobs within the music industry, but still, there is a part of this. Like, okay, I was making a resume for somebody who may not know music, but people here will be applying to music jobs. But that doesn't mean you can't take some of the ideas here of like presenting something in like a really good, like, why don't do you want to just touch on like presenting yourself, like, even right now, just I'm trying to keep it casual, but I also know that I have to look somewhat decent. If this was 10 years ago, I don't think I would have come on camera looking this good. Not that I look good. This hair is pretty bad. But Do you want to just talk a little bit about presenting yourself? Because I think that's another thing that I was really struggling with in terms of
It's like professional image and stuff.
yeah, because I don't like talking about myself. I don't like, I mean, I think I've gotten a little better at it to, and, I'm a little worried that I might be getting like a little too into it because I really don't think that talking about yourself is attractive. Like I think that the work will always speak for itself. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I remember one thing that would always come up in our conversations was, you know, I don't want to, I feel so weird. I don't want to brag about myself. I don't want to sound arrogant.
And I still don't.
And,
I mean,
but
just.
yeah, but here's the thing to think about is that when you are pursuing a role or anything where obviously there are other people who are also pursuing that same thing, you really need to think about how can you distinguish yourself. If you want them to choose you, you actually really need to think about not just being another candidate, but what is it about you that you can convey that's going to make them perk up, that's going to make them be really interested, to make them going to think that you have something really unique to offer, some kind of value that you have to offer them. So I think even thinking about bragging or arrogance, I think turn that into the facts. And I think that kind of went to the work that we did on your CV, on your resume, when we were just talking about the bullets. Saying that you mastered hit singles for Grammy Award-winning artists such as X, Y, and Z, those are actually facts. Like you can and if you think like you're bragging or whatever, stop and check yourself for a second and be like, this thing that I'm saying, did this actually happen? Yes. Is this actually true? Just look at the facts. We're not making a judgment here. Mastered hit records for Grammy Award-winning artists such as XYZ. Is that completely truthful? Yes. So great. So that's actually not bragging. That's actually truth.
No, that's true. I mean, look, even as you said it right now, I even felt uncomfortable. Like, there's just something about it there's something about stating facts, as you say, that just has a little bit of discomfort with me because I don't, but now after doing it, I understand that oh yeah, that's what actually lets people know that you've done stuff.
People, yeah, I want to point this out. In the process of going for a role or again pursuing whatever it is, and I went back to this before, you are 50% of the interview process, and actually you hold a lot more power than you realize. The company will only know about you what you have made known. When you're at an interview, they'll only know about you what you've said and actually what you haven't said. You control the narrative. Right. I think that's something I'd really love to put into people's minds. You 100% control the narrative. Right. And so really think about what is important for them to know about you. And when you were just talking now about still feeling some discomfort around, talking about things that you've done, really, again, I think there's a couple ways to kind of check yourself on it. Number one, are these the facts? And again, we're not looking for judgment. We're just looking for the key facts. If it's factual, then great. Then right. That should be included. And with that, I would say also, these are things that you've done that you're proud of. So why wouldn't you want to showcase this about yourself? Right? Really think of it from that aspect.
Pride is a little strong of a word for me, but I understand what you're saying.
But you wouldn't have gone to Engine Room Audio if you didn't want to work with well-known engineers and artists and get that experience.
Right, but I mean, well, not necessarily. You know the truth, right? It's I'm very passionate about music and the type of music I like. I wanted to get good enough. I wanted to get my skills to a high level where I could produce that kind of music. Working with the biggest artists in the industry was kind of like a nice little add-on to it. It's not really something that I was chasing too much. I only started chasing it because I knew that it would bring value to my O1 and I wanted to stay in the country. Mm-hmm. And I think that was one of the most difficult times in terms of okay, you kind of have to turn a little bit into this guy who presents himself better because that's going to get you to stay in the country. It was just a really difficult dilemma to be in, you have to change a bit of yourself to reach your goals.
And actually the process of applying for jobs and pursuing things like this and the act of personal marketing communications, which is your resume, your cover letter, networking outreach emails, interviews, right? These are ways that you're marketing yourself, communication methods, which you're marketing yourself. Again, you completely control the narrative. They're only going to know what you allow them to know. So make sure they know what they need to about you as an individual, and that make them see that you are unique. You are somebody who they should be happy to have as a part of their team.